Today's journal entry is a list of reminders that I have for myself for the ways in which I want to live my own life. But before I read the list, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Janelle's. I created this YouTube channel to share my personal journey towards trauma healing in a completely transparent way. It is my goal with this channel to enable myself and others to live a life filled with joy, trust, and fulfillment. If you would like to join me with this goal, please subscribe to my channel. So the list is titled Notes to Self, in parentheses, while watching Up with Drew. And the second part is because I was watching Up with Drew when I wrote the letter. Pretty self-explanatory. But also, I would like to point out that I have a bit of a cold still, so I apologize for my stuffy nose. If you don't want people to judge you for who you were in the past, accept them for who they are now, but still maintain boundaries. So for this, it's more so getting at, you probably don't want to be judged for the worst things you've ever done or for your most shameful moments, so it's best to not do that to other people as well. But with that said, it's possible to accept someone for who they are, but not make space for them in your life. Like if you notice being around someone because of the behaviors that they choose to have is detrimental to you, then it's okay to have the boundary of not having them in your life. It's just not having the mindset of having to change other people just because you don't agree with the way that they live. And remember, misery loves company. Always refuse the invitation. For this one, I struggled a lot before with helping people who were not even putting the effort into helping themselves. And I've realized some people don't want help out of their misery. Like the feeling of misery has become so common for them that it's their comfort zone. And their goal instead is to pull other people down into their misery with them so they will suffer with them. It's important to not fall into those traps, essentially. So for me, I've recognized that if I offer someone help and they don't accept it, I just need to leave it at that. They need to make the decision for themselves that they want to make their lives better. And until they do, I can't make them accept help that they're refusing to accept. Forgive yourself and others to free yourself. To free yourself at the end is very important because in the past, I struggled with forgiving other people, especially if I thought they didn't deserve my forgiveness. And that's because I would just be overcome with anger. Like I would just be so angry that I couldn't see how forgiveness was a possibility. But I've learned that anger that I was feeling has been hurting me as well. Like it's made it hard for me to enjoy the things that I had because I was just so fixated on how unfair I thought things were in the past. So now I see forgiveness as more of a way to allow myself to experience joy. Like by letting negative emotions pass, like experiencing them and just letting them pass and not harboring them, I realized I'm making room for positive emotions to come in. Don't waste time analyzing the intentions of people in your past that you've cut out. This one's also a big one for me. I've learned that once I've cut people out, like I realized someone's toxic and I cut them out, there's no use for me to like rethink through the things that they've done and try to figure out why they did it. It doesn't really matter. What I've realized is as long as I identify that that person is toxic to me and that the relationship is not healthy for me, then it's time to just let it go. I don't really have to figure out all the nitty and gritties of why it turned out the way that it did. I just need to accept it for what it is. Trust your instincts more than you trust the opinion of others. Another big one. I feel like I'm going to say that for everything on this list. But for this, I've learned to really trust my gut instinct rather just relying on what other people have to say. I'm definitely open to the considerations of other people, but at the end of the day, I have to do what I feel is best for me. It's not your responsibility to save other people by changing their behaviors. You can only guide other people who have already made the decision to seek the light. This one I've already touched on a little bit already, but I just want to reiterate that the point that I'm trying to make behind this is you can't help people who don't want to be helped. In order to help someone, they have to make the decision already that they want their lives to be better and they want to actively do things to make their lives better. And that's not to say that people who haven't made that decision yet don't deserve help. Is you just can't force someone to accept the help that you're giving them. They have to make the decision themselves to accept that help. Appreciate all that you have when you have it, including people and animals. I sometimes have a hard time staying stuck in my head, and it makes me not appreciate all that's in front of me until later on. Like, I'll look back at times and think, oh, I probably had a lot more fun than I realized during those times. Like, I thought it was harder than it was because I was so fixated on either the past or the future. So this one is more of a reminder to try to be more present and enjoy things as they're happening. Move towards the sun and feel the shadows fall behind. The first time I saw this quote, someone had it as a tattoo on their rib cage, and then I looked it up. It's a Rihanna song, but I've always liked this quote. Like, I love the sentiment of it. Fight hard to remain connected to Drew's full name. The family you've created with him is your number one priority in life. Includes Josie, Pixie, and Bino. I don't know why I listed them all out separately, but I feel that very strongly. I talk about this in my other videos, but I've never really felt a familial bond with my own relatives, and that's just not immediate family, extended too. Like, I just never really understood other people who had a greater amount of loyalty to their family than they did other people. So whenever they would say, yeah, this family member treats me poorly, and then like listed out like how that person wasn't very respectful of them, I would wonder, like, why do you still talk to them? And then they would say, well, they're family, you know, you kind of have to. Like, I never understood that. But now I get it a little bit more because I feel that bond and connection to the family that I have now, the one that I created for myself. But yeah, like I said, before the one I've created for myself, I just never felt that connection. Aim to wake up feeling excited every day, no matter what is going on, and to appreciate how lucky you are to be alive. So this is a reminder for me to fight through the anxiety I feel in the morning. Typically when I wake up in the morning is when I'm at my most anxious, and I have a lot of anxiety built up. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I feel a lot of tightness in my chest. And also in the mornings, I'm more prone to rumination. And rumination is obsessively having a thought to the point where it's debilitating. Like, it's being so engulfed in the thought that you're unaware of your surroundings because you're just so consumed by whatever you're thinking about. And it's really hard to break out of this thought pattern. With that said, I notice in the mornings that if I stay in bed longer than 5 minutes after waking up, I'm more prone to ruminating than if I were to just wake up and get up out of bed. So this also serves as a reminder for me to do the things that I know help me set up myself for success in the mornings. So again, that includes getting up out of bed within 5 minutes of waking up, taking a shower, getting ready, eating breakfast, all immediately after waking up, rather than procrastinating by staying in bed and looking at my phone, or just staying in bed and thinking. Those things, they just don't set me up for success in the mornings. Fight to see the bright side of every situation, even when it's difficult to find. So for this one, it's just to remind myself to not fall in the traps of victim mentality. Like, it's really easy to look at things that happened in my past and just focus on how unfair they were, or just get trapped in negativity. And I've just learned that's not very helpful. Like, I would rather focus on the fact that I overcame the things of my past rather than making those things a part of my identity. Don't let rumination rob you from enjoying your life. So this one is a big one for me because I suffered with rumination for a long time. And a big part of it was not knowing what it was. I thought it was just overthinking. But like how I said, it's more than just overthinking. It's very debilitating because it engulfs you so much that you're just so unaware of what's going on around you. So for me, I just have to really work on recognizing when I'm starting to fall into like a ruminating pattern and avoid it like the plague. Like, it's really important for me to try to avoid even initiating those ruminating thoughts, because it's really hard to pull myself out of it. Place higher priority to staying true to the content of your message rather than using your preferred wording. So for this one, is focusing on the fact that people just think differently and they communicate differently. So I've learned it's really important to be adaptable when speaking with other people in order to make sure that your message is best understood. Like if you can word things differently to make your message better understood by someone, it's best to just do that rather than just fixating on like, well, this is who I am, this is how I speak. Either you get it or you don't. Like, no, if you can help people understand where you're coming from, I feel like there's more benefit in just doing that rather than remaining stubborn and closed off in how you choose to communicate with others. Allow yourself to fully live in the here and now. So I've mentioned this a couple times throughout the other ones. This is something that I'm really working on. It's easier said than done for me. Some people may not struggle with it as much, I'm not sure, but I really have to work hard to not be in my head and to just stay present. And sometimes I overthink about staying present, which probably hurts it, but again, this is a skill that I'm working on very actively. Thank all those who have supported you. And that's because it's really easy to just appreciate all that someone has done without verbalizing it, but I find it's best to verbalize the gratitude to the other people because they really appreciate it. Like one compliment can go such a long way in making someone's day, and it's such minimal effort on your part. So if someone has been there by your side and has helped you through things, let them know what they mean to you. With that said, please share with me in the comments any reminders that you have for yourself for how you want to live your life. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you would like to further support my content, please go to patreon.com/yourfriendjanellis to become a member of my Patreon. As you may know, Patreon is a way for fans to support the content that they love on a monthly basis. Members of my Patreon enjoy the exclusive benefits of a chat community, live streams, and guaranteed access to me via direct messaging. By supporting my Patreon, you're allowing me to dedicate the time and effort necessary to create, edit, and upload new videos on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for your support, and I appreciate you all.